Welcome to the Manuchehri podcast. Over the last 30 years, it has been my joy to assist humanity in aligning with their magnificence so they may heal, discover their natural gifts, and communicate with loved ones living on the other side. May you also experience delight while we dance in the powerful, intuitive world of energy. Let's get going. Welcome to where energy meets the divine. I'm thrilled to be here to answer your questions. But before we do that, and again, thank you for everyone who leaves me questions. I am excited about it and delighted. I love to hear from people all over the world, and it's pretty cool. Let's talk about individualization, because that's what's really coming up in human consciousness, is this desire to individualize, to not be like everybody else, but yet be grounded and connected to your natural magnificence, your gifts and talents. When we look at things energetically, the seventh layer of the auric field says individualization. And energetically speaking, this field is the closest to God from an energetic perspective. And so the premise is, the more we individuate, the more we become our God self. So that means you have to think outside of the box. It really means don't think. Do not think. Please don't think logically. It's a complete waste of time. It's a complete waste of your time. Intuition vibrates at a certain frequency. Logic vibrates at a different frequency. They're both wonderful and amazing things. If you're, helping airplanes stay in the air, we want you to use your logic as you're making drawings or working on a team that's creating a replacement part or whatever needs to happen to keep airplanes in the air. But when you are wanting to individualize, you want to experience your own true self, your own magnificence, walk your own destiny, you cannot use your logical mind. You can't figure it out. It will never make sense. There's really no logical way that it's even going to evolve. It's going to be very magical. The universe is magical. The more you individuate, the more magical you become. Learning to ignore, which is not about denial. All of you are very smart. I always attract really smart, many times professional people who have great integrity. I'm very blessed. I attract wonderful, amazing people to the things that I do, and I'm so grateful. And so learning to let go of the logical mind does not mean moving into denial. You're all smart. You know what's happening in the world. You know what's happening in your own backyard. But it means to not focus on those things. If those things are not a part of your personal experience, you don't want your energy going there. If you don't want that in your life, you really don't even want it in the world, then you can't focus on it because you're sending energy to it. You don't recognize that you are, but you're sending subatomic particles to something that you don't even want to have in the world. When I would prefer that you start allowing your particle mass to be in your own body, to build your own magnificence, to have your own divinity, to individuate, to individualize. So you won't be in denial. I promise you. You're all too smart for that. Denial, and I don't mean to say there's a lack of intelligence. I truly don't mean that at all. But when people are in denial, they're in significant, patterns, a lot of pain. And so they are looking on something to grasp that allows them to feel better for short periods of time. They don't know how to actually be present. They're believing something that either doesn't exist, or it never existed, or it certainly isn't existing in the way that they want it to. They're in denial. They can't see it authentically. So detachment, learning to individuate, has, again, nothing to do with denial. It has something to do with neutrality. So, if we were all in a car that had a stick shift, I remember when I was married, my kid's dad, he had a stick shift car, and I didn't know how to drive it. I didn't learn how to, drive a stick shift when I went to, when I took driver's ed. I didn't learn it. And we drove around and around in a school parking lot, for hours so I could learn how to, push and release the clutch at the perfect moment. So think about being neutral, in the car. it's really not going anywhere. It's not going forward. It could roll backward if you were on a hill. But let's just say that your energy system, your body, your place in the world is not on a hill, and you want to gain momentum so that you can move forward. So you must become neutral. You can't be pushing on the gas if you don't know where you're going. You can't be pushing on the brake if you know where you want to go, but you're too scared, which fear is not even real. It's an illusion. That truth has been written in spiritual books for decades. So you're in neutral. The clutch can move in all directions because it's not ready for reverse or forward. Not yet. You're in neutrality. This is what being in the present moment is about. Because when you're neutral, you're sitting in the car, you're not moving. You can actually roll down the window and listen to the birds. You could feel your glute muscles sinking into the seat. You could feel the warmth of your clothing on your body. That's what being neutral is. It's truly about being in the present moment, and everything begins in the present moment, which humanity sucks at it. I'm not saying any of you do, and I'm hoping that you recover from not being able to be present. The present moment is always stunning and gorgeous too. There's something quite significant in the present moment. I was walking Charles before I decided to record this podcast, and I haven't heard any frogs for a while, and there was no one out on the trail. It's a beautiful fall day, stopped raining, puddles everywhere. And all of a sudden I just hear this very large croaking sound. And it made me go in this awe, this, like I was so happy. I wanted to actually go to the frog and try to find it, but I've tried that before and that just takes too much time. I can't find them. We have a lot of tree frogs around here. They're teeny tiny, but they're very loud. So I just, stood across from where maybe the frog was for several minutes, admiring, appreciating, sinking into the present moment of something stunning and beautiful. Now, your present moment doesn't have to look like mine. Maybe you don't like frogs. Maybe you don't like being outside. It doesn't matter where you can feel inspired or in awe of something. It doesn't matter. Your job is to actually become present as much as you possibly can in those moments and soak them up, because it's those moments where your energy stops going towards the things you're like, what are they getting out of this? Why is this happening? And I'm not talking about what happened, last week. I'm talking about everyday stuff. Every day people wonder, why does that person act like that? And why are they doing this? And how come this isn't happening? And why can't I have this? This is what humans are doing. They're processing information that actually isn't helpful, because the brain was not created for humans to process information. It was not created for that. But yet that's what humans do the most of their life, is they process information trying to get some sort of, logical answer. But logic is not complicated. If you're using your logical mind, you've got the answers, you've got the download. I can do 1, 2, or 3. It's usually like 3 choices. And most humans don't want any of those 3 choices. So they're trying to pick the least evil of the choices. But that's not intuition. Intuition has phenomenal solutions, incredible ones that you could never, ever imagine or think about, ever. That's why it's important for us to get into the vibration of manifesting, which also requires us being present and not thinking about the fear or the worry or the doubt that people get caught up in. When you're in the present moment, you're in the present moment. Whether you're listening to frogs or hearing the wind or the laughter of children that happen to be in another room, or music, with beautiful harps. It doesn't matter what inspires your present moment. What does matter is that you seek it out over and over and over again, over and over and over and over again for the rest of your life, because that's where the magic is. That's where you're going to absorb energy, and you need energy to put the stick shift in the right gear so that you can start moving forward. You need subatomic particles in your body. Even medicine, whether it's conventional or traditional, which is holistic, because that was the first medicine. In order for it to work, you have to have energy in your body. That's why some people don't heal, conventionally or holistically because they're not receiving subatomic particles. They don't know how to be present. They're in constant fight or flight. That's exhausting. And remember, when you're worrying about something, you're sending that thing energy, and you're not sending it good energy. You're sending it low vibrational energy, so it can't even change. Worrying doesn't help anyone. It doesn't help us. It doesn't help the thing that you're sending energy to. Yeah, it's not a good thing. So I invite you to become present, hopefully once a day, and then hopefully every hour, then every half an hour. That is the true form of meditation, is to become present. And I believe the sitting down and kind of meditation is helping us to be present when we're not meditating, which is what we need. When you're making decisions, you have to learn to become present so that you can move forward, so that you can receive a download of knowledge that goes beyond anything you could possibly imagine, so that your life can be individualized. So it can be your own unique, incredible masterpiece, which everyone deserves. And it is completely normal. Then you will move into a different frequency or vibration, regardless of what other people are experiencing. And of course, we want everyone to experience the divinity of themselves. Of course they do. But if you're waiting for everyone to figure it out, then you're slowing down the process, because every time a human being individualizes, that helps other human beings around them get curious and go, oh, well, he could do it. Maybe I can too. I don't know how he did that. I don't know how he made his life financially free. I don't know how he found the love of his life. I don't know how he made his body well, but wow, he did it. Just as you move into inspired action, you inspire others to do the very same thing. And that's really what life is all about. We all came here, we all reincarnated to the physical realm so we can learn how to manifest and create in the physical reality, which is very different than non-physical realities. In non-physical realities, we don't need food, we don't have a body, we don't need money, we don't need housing, and we're not as easily motivated to change, because you could just go play forever. So nobody has to incarnate to any reality if they don't want to, but something inspired you to come to Earth, to live in a contractual time-space reality so that you could learn to create physically. And the rule is, if you will, if it's a rule, but I'm calling it a rule, that once you learn how to do it here on Earth, you can do it anywhere. Now, this is the PhD program for evolution. Okay, so we're going to go to the phone lines now. I'm going to listen to people ask me questions. I will be giving them personal advice, but this advice could be helpful to you as well. So sometimes I get people who write me and, say, how could you say that to them? That's not my experience. But I'm actually reading for that person, and everybody's different. Everyone's different in terms of their patterns, their belief systems, where they're holding themselves back. Okay.
Hi, Marie. My name is Mel. I'm new on this spiritual journey. I've just started learning more, and I'm having a really hard time embracing letting the universe give me what I need. Mm-hmm. Letting go of control is hard for me. I have a number of questions for you if you have time to listen to them. My first question has to do with Alzheimer's. When someone has Alzheimer's, is their whole self still in their body? No. Is there any consciousness left? Yes. How does this disease work from a spiritual standpoint? My next question has to do with a loved one I've recently lost. Mm. And I was wondering if that person had something to say to me. On the flip side, I have a question about a person that has come into my life. I have a little one, and I want to be extra careful about who I bring into my life. But I'm moving, and this person wants to come with me, and I'm just not sure if that's the best choice or not.
I would wait.
I'd love your feedback. I know I've asked a lot of questions, and I could probably ask you a dozen more, but I really appreciate your time, and thanks for taking my call.
Of course, Mel. First of all, Alzheimer's is a disease of the sixth chakra, which the sixth chakra governs the brain. And all brain disorders are connected to being in authentic denial. So it's very difficult to get a brain disease if a person hasn't been in denial. So denial could be that someone stays in a relationship for decades and they don't even like the person. They don't want to even sleep next to them, but they won't leave in a romantic partnership. That can create havoc in the brain and break it down and could possibly lead to Alzheimer's or a brain tumor or seizure activity, anything to do with the brain. Most people, as they progress in Alzheimer's, they have some of their energy in their body, but they have most of their energy on the other side already. And sometimes, in most cases, when Alzheimer's people, their disease is moving forward, they're actually doing inner work, because people who are authentically in denial do not do inner work. They don't get therapy. They don't ask other people's opinions. They just make up stories about their life that are not supportive truly of what would be in their best interest. So they start to do inner work on the other side before they cross over. And all diseases that lead to death, or any action that leads to death, is just a personal choice a soul makes prior to exiting Earth. Because before we incarnate, we know that when you move into a physical reality, in order to get your energy free so that you can move back to the heavens, the body has to die in some way for the majority of the population. And so Alzheimer's is a terminal illness, and it's a way that someone can leave their body. The thing about the person who just passed, I don't think they've completely crossed over. I think they're still in the astral plane. I'm feeling a masculine energy, but they haven't crossed over yet. This is not unusual or uncommon. Some people might be annoyed or frustrated with circumstances in their life or what happened when they died, and they're not ready to go be in joy, because the other side is, that was a little flat today, but it's really lovely. So they kind of want to fly around in annoyance and frustration, or sometimes they just think it's really cool to be in the astral plane. They're not ready. They don't need another dimension. They're having fun. People can spend years in the astral plane if they want to. Ghosts, which we have a very small percentage on Earth, very small, like less than 3% of the people who leave their bodies become ghosts, stay in the astral plane because they are in denial. They think they're reliving, most of them, something that is gone. That's what they think. So I hope that, last question. No, you don't know this person well enough. Absolutely not. And I think healthy relationships understand that, like, we don't know each other very well. Let's not run, into something more permanent when we don't know each other very well. I love you, or I'm falling in love with you. Let's get to know each other. We can always move or relocate. Let's give it a try. So when there's kind of this neediness, no, I don't think that's a good idea. Those are my thoughts anyway.
Hi, Marie. This is Laurie from Pennsylvania. Thank you for all that you do. I have been getting repetitive nudges to leave my career of 34 years to live in the country where I would be surrounded by trees with an open space for a garden. It feels like I'm meant to do this, but I can't wrap my mind around it because it seems absurd and financially risky. And I can't see how I would make the transition from a divorced 59-year-old suburban working woman to this life I feel I am being guided towards. It feels like my dream, but I'm scared as it seems radical and fraught with dire circumstances if I do get it wrong. Can you give any insights as to what you see around this? Will I end up financially struggling if I go through with this? And how would I go about making this happen? Thanks, Marie. All my love.
Thank you, Lori, and love to you too. First, stop being sexist. That's a very misogynistic comment that you just made about women in general, that we can't be independent, we can't be self-sufficient, like it's bad if we get divorced. Stop it, stop it, stop it. So many people think, and I know that you weren't thinking about it that way, so I hope you don't feel bad as I'm saying this to you, but a lot of people think that sexism is, this, it has to be really gross, like violence and, companies where, this is part of sexism, of course, where women are paid less than men, which is unfortunately common, very common. But what you just said, everything you just said is sexist. Like, women need to have men to be successful, to make, wonderful decisions and choices in their life. You've got to work on that. You've got to work on that. I've had many people say something like that to me, like, oh, you must have got a great settlement when you got divorced. I'm like, no, I didn't take a dime of my ex-husband's retirement fund. And yeah, I didn't take a dime of his retirement fund. I did not get alimony or any of those things. In fact, I had to pay him when I got divorced. It wasn't a huge amount of money, but we had 2 pieces of property and, we just divided that. So let's get clear. Women are powerful, amazing, independent creatures. And as soon as we start being sexist to ourselves as women, because women are very sexist to themselves, then women can actually recognize, like, oh, but I'm a powerful beam of light. I can have whatever I want. I can do whatever I want. Nothing can hold me back. So I want you to work on that. And thank you for offering this question, because I think people don't really understand the nuance of sexism. That's one of the reasons why the United States is one of the only countries that has still not had a female leader, because we have tons of sexism in our country, a ton. But it's so subtle, people don't realize it's that sexism, but it is. It absolutely is. You don't have to be a man to be sexist. No, women have their fair share of it. So first of all, in order to manifest, remember, fear isn't real. It's an illusion. So when you're in fear, you're analyzing and processing, you're thinking of things that have never happened. You're putting energy towards worry and doubt. You're not feeding yourself subatomic particles, and it makes it difficult to make a decision or a choice. It is. And I'm not saying sell everything and move to the country right now. I would love for you to work on your energy and your confidence and your stability and your individualization before you make a move, so that you can keep the ball rolling and not have things go south, right? So you have to feel. This is how people manifest. You have to feel that what you want is already here. You already have a lovely home. Don't think about exactly where it is. I don't think, but people can be different, that being super specific about manifesting is a good idea. You just want to get into the feeling of it. You have a lovely home, someplace surrounded by nature, and you are happy and you are financially free. That's all you have to feel every single day for like 5 to 10 minutes. Let yourself stay there with no interruption. No, I can't make that happen. Like, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose everything. This is irresponsible. I'm a woman, single. Yeah. No, we got to get rid of all of that. We got to get rid of sexism. That has to go away. We can't have it in our lives if we want all of humanity to evolve. I hope that's helpful. And I wish you the greatest of luck and the greatest discovery of your own individualization. I know you can do it. Okay.
Hi, Marie. My question is, could you give me some insight to how to break this cycle I have around emotional eating? And it tends to happen like, even if I'm upset about something, but also if I'm excited about something, if I'm anticipating something, and I'll just tend to binge. So I'd like to get some insight around that, and to exercise some control around that, and celebrate myself in some other ways. And even when I am working through sadness or disappointment or some other challenges, using more healthier methods in with my energy in doing that. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Theresa. And this is how people can break a pattern. And thank you for being conscious of it and knowing about it and, wanting it to go away. Can you love yourself as you're grabbing extra food that your body doesn't need? Can you go, honey, I love you so much, even as we're, mine are potato chips. I try to buy the small bags so that I can't eat anymore, right? That's kind of my go-to about not consuming a lot of food that I don't like. I just don't put it in my cart. That's kind of my way. But when I do, like I have a large bag of potato chips right now in the pantry. I've eaten half of it yesterday. And so when you're doing something that isn't good for your body and you don't want to, and you want it to stop, you have to be nice to yourself. You've already been mean to yourself. You're already mad at yourself. You're already ashamed, and shame is not a real emotion. It's a mind-made emotion. So is guilt. But could you go, honey, I love you with every bite that you take? Could you nurture yourself? Because that's really what you're looking for, is you're looking for self-nurturing. You're looking for, you probably didn't get enough nurturing as a kid, which lots of people did not. And not because all of our parents were terrible, but people had too many children, or they had a lot of chaos, or they didn't know how to nurture. They just knew how to control or not listen, or, parenting's one of those weird, interesting things. So as you're getting bites of food and you're putting in your mouth, just love yourself. And I mean, authentically. It may feel weird in the beginning to be self-loving, like, honey, I love you. Good choice. This macaroni and cheese is delicious. Good choice. Because that is what's going to make you stop. And then you'll start to put energy towards other things. I think the excitement is anxiety, like it's not going to happen. It's not going to work out. And disappointment, anxiety, all of those things are from overthinking and analyzing. We all need to fire ourselves from overthinking. It affects the mental plane, which is almost in the center of the auric field. And the mental plane is a structured field of energy. It holds up the fourth layer and the second layer of the field, the emotional response system, and everything to do with how we relate to everything in the universe. So we want to, and people don't like this word, but I like it, control your mind. The mind needs controlling. I think of the mind like a dog. And Charles, I have to give him commands every single day. Leave it. My cat Huckleberry was coming down the stairs to go outside and for a little while, and Charles chased him, and I had to say, leave it. Huckleberry was already, gone to some far off room upstairs, hiding under a bed, I'm sure. But Charles has been told numerous times, don't chase the cats. He loves doing it. He cries when they hide. It doesn't hurt them. He doesn't bite them or anything, but he loves to play. He wants to play with them. So dogs are like the human mind. They need constant reinforcement, rebalancing. Otherwise, some dogs, not mine, but dogs will eat all of their food. If you filled up their bowl of food, and let's say you hoped it would last 2 days, they're going to eat it all in 5 seconds. So that's what the mind is like. The mind needs repetitive, consistent monitoring and control. In my opinion, that's what I think. It requires control. And so don't worry about controlling your eating habits. I want you to be loving and kind to yourself every time you're getting extra food that you don't believe your body needs. I want you to be kind to yourself. And when the processing and analyzing comes through, which may be on totally different topics, I want you to ignore them, go into neutral, stop thinking about it, become present. This is how we individuate and allow ourselves to be our magnificence, which every single person deserves beyond anything they could possibly imagine. Okay, thank you.
Hi, Marie. This is Julia calling from Santa Barbara, California. A few months ago, an acquaintance friend of mine died after a long battle with cancer.
Aww.
2 nights after, I was thinking of him as I was turning out the lights to go to bed. I hit the switch in our hall light, and it suddenly started flashing on and off in this frenetic manner. Even when I switched to the off position, the flashing continued, but then it finally stopped. So the fixture contained 3 bulbs, so I assumed that a fuse had blown and I just went to bed. The next morning, I tried the switch and all lit up fine, and it has worked ever since. So I sort of wondered if it was my friend trying to send a message. So then a week after this, I received news that a close family friend had died, and we hadn't been aware that she had been suffering with a terminal illness. And coincidentally, she happened to be a sought-after healer in Europe and had chosen the timing of her death due to laws condoning this in her country. So I was taking a shower one morning when I had a clairaudient experience of her saying, it was me flashing the lights, and a very persistent, go find the date that I died. So I went and looked up her obituary, and sure enough, unbeknownst to me at the time, she had died on the same day as my acquaintance friend. Wow. So my question for you is, should I be working to foster more of this type of communication, or just be grateful and always surprised when these unexpected events happen? Thank you.
You're welcome. Always be grateful and surprised when wonderful intuition kicks in. But absolutely, yes, you should study mediumship. You bet. I am teaching my 12-week coaching program starting in January. You don't have to take it from me. You don't have to take any class. You could read books or meditate on what the universe teach you. It doesn't matter, but just putting it out there in case you decide you want to do something like that. So congratulations. That's exciting. And water is really helpful because we're 70% water. The earth is almost 80% water. And so when people are in the shower or going to the bathroom or washing their hands, sitting in a bathtub, people get intuitive insight. It's like a channel opens up and we start to absorb the information that's always been there. It's always been a part of us. So congratulations. I think that's fantastic. Plus it makes you happy. The most important thing about choosing what to do next is what brings you joy. What's unfortunate for many, many people is they have no idea what makes them happy. They rarely feel happiness. They have no idea what joy means. You are not one of those people. So absolutely, that's your yellow brick road. Joy, joy, joy.
Hi, Marie. I know you have a lot of people you help, and that's amazing. But if you could help me figure out why I feel so stressed lately and why I keep holding on to things that honestly aren't really even my energy, it feels like, or help me figure out if it is
It
mine.
is.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And maybe see if my brother has anything to say to me.
Of course.
That would be nice.
Of course.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Alexandra. First of all, I love your brother. He is beautiful, high vibrational energy, very gorgeous. Didn't spend a lot of time in the astral plane, just flew over. He's got amazing energy. I mean, just beautiful. And he says, upbringing has a lot to do with it. It's your energy, but you're not learning, you're not allowing yourself to stop. Again, what I've been talking about this whole podcast is, we have to stop the analyzing and processing, which leads to anxiety, fear, and doubt. Of course it does. Of course it does. I'm going to tell this one story. Your brother's asking me to. And I've told this story before, so it might be a repeat for some people. When all of my daughters were going to be at the university at the same time, and their father and I paid for their college and all the things that go along with it. It was something that was very important to us. And, we had 2 kids in college, but all of our kids are 2 years apart. And one of our daughters she changed her topic from architecture to engineering. So she had to stay a year longer. So we were going to have 3 kids at school. And I remember thinking, that's going to be tricky. Wasn't sure how I was going to financially help, pay half of the 3rd child going to school. And I could have analyzed and processed that till the cows come home. But I really believe in manifesting. I know it's 1000% normal. I think it's normal. So I chose not to analyze or process it or think about it or research it or take out a home equity loan or whatever my logical mind could have said. Instead, I imagined that I was sitting at my favorite piece of furniture in the living room. It was this kind of cool, interesting coffee table. Every time I walked past the living room, I would imagine myself sitting there happily writing out the 3rd check. Happily. Not how much it was, not how I was going to have the resources, not, oh my gosh, now I don't have enough money for this or that or this or that. None of those things. When you manifest, you want to feel that what you want has already happened. So even though this was months ahead of time, I pre-paved my manifesting by sending positive, beautiful energy to being able to afford 3 kids in college, right? So within a few weeks of doing that, and I gave myself months, right? But within a few weeks, things already changed. But I've been practicing manifesting for a big part of my life. And one of my clients who used to be a vice president of sales of a pretty well-known athletic company, Precor, called me and said, hey, we'd like to send, some of our clients to you as a gift, and we know you don't work Fridays. Could you work 1 Friday a month? We'll send 2 to 3 clients to you. We'll fly them in and we'll pay you the corporate rate, which I'd never heard of. That term had never been. And I'm like, sure, great. And as it turned out, it was the resources that were needed to help pay for that 3rd kid going to college. So I'm telling you this story because your logical mind could never figure out the solution. It can't figure out the solution about anything. It can't. It's not supposed to. It's supposed to help keep airplanes in the air. Remember? It can't. It's not creative. It's not magical. I mean, it's beautiful. I think the mind is stunning and gorgeous, but humans make it do something it can't do. So you want to be in the vibration of intuition, which is very different and has everything to do with manifesting and letting go and surrendering and being high vibrational frequency. It's a higher vibration, like me imagining. I was happy every time I walked past the living room and imagined myself wearing some cute outfit, bending down and writing a check happily, because it was something that my children's father and I, it was important to us. We didn't want our children to graduate with any significant debt. So my dear, this energy that you're talking about that you think belongs to someone else is yours. And you're vibrating at a low frequency, which the majority of the population is, but you want to individuate, you want to individualize, you want to have a different experience. So you have to create different experiences within your own reality. Like what I just described is what I did that solved a situation, that hadn't even happened yet. And what happens is things haven't even happened in people's lives yet. They're already worried about it. They're stressed about it. They're complaining about it. They're talking about it negatively, and they're actually bringing more negativity into their life. It's a very unhealthy situation and circumstance. So stop thinking, stop analyzing, stop processing, learn to get present, and learn to get happy. Even if you're thinking about things from one's past that are joyful, great. I was once with a girlfriend, and she invited a bunch of people over for dinner. I'd never met them before. I don't think I've seen them since, except for this one girlfriend. We laughed so hard. I mean, I'm surprised we all didn't wet our pants. We laughed for hours. It was incredible. It was an amazing experience. So I know everyone has something in their history. It may not look like my picture, just laughing for hours. And even if we had wet our pants, we probably just would have laughed more. I mean, it was really quite an amazing experience. Do you have something from your history? It could be a time when you were a kid and you're playing hide and go seek, or maybe you were catching frogs in the creek and hopefully returning them back to nature. But whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Learn and practice vibration of happiness, because that's where everything you want is. It exists only in the happy frequency and happy vibration. That's where everything is. All the things we want only exist in happy, joyful frequency. Okay, thank you.
Hi, Marie. My name is Alexandra, and I'm from New York. Thank you so much for the opportunity to ask this question, and thank you for your wisdom and guidance. I'm really glad I found you. So I've been struggling with maintaining a healthy weight for a very long time. Also having a healthy self-image and really learning to love the body that I'm in. I've been overweight for over 25 years now of my 41 years. I'm trying to almost desperately understand the root cause of my struggling and how I can cope, keep my mind efficiently occupied while I'm in the process of losing weight or returning to a healthy weight, and keep my self-esteem moving in an upward trajectory. It feels like this weight loss is a big part of me fulfilling my purpose. And I don't understand what I'm missing. I've been able to overcome a lot of things in my life and achieve a lot in my life. I don't understand why I'm not able to do this.
Right.
Or what I'm missing. What's the key to understanding what the problem is so I can harmonize it? Or if I'm just looking at it the wrong way, or not just, if I'm looking at it the wrong way. Please help. Thank you so much.
Hello, Alexandra. It's my pleasure to help. First of all, you've already tried everything. I talked with a class I was teaching last night. I think it was the Spirit Guide class. Yeah, because tonight I'm going to teach about auras and chakras. So you've tried everything. And thank you for doing that and putting all your energy and time into it. But you have to let go and surrender. That means you can't think about this anymore. You can't and it's fine to talk about it with me or when you go see a practitioner if you need to, but you need to stop putting energy into this. You have put so much energy in how to lose weight that you are stuck now in the vibration of I'm never going to lose weight, because you have to surrender. You have to get out of the way. And when people really surrender, it feels like a failure. At least initially, it feels like, oh, I'm giving up. So I obviously messed up and I'm not going to be able to manifest and create this thing that I want. It feels that way for a lot of people. It certainly feels that way to me whenever I'm finally willing to let go, which I think is one of the most powerful spiritual experiences a human being can have, is to surrender and get out of the way. So here's what I'm going to ask that you do. Repeat silently over and over again for like several minutes throughout the day. What if I surrender? What if I let go? What if I get out of the way? And I don't want you to think about dieting or your body or anything like that. And I'm so grateful you're falling in love with it, because when are we going to love our bodies? I mean, really, when? Seems like never for most people. But you need to surrender. And we don't know what this surrendering is about. So think of that your body is an opportunity. You're not happy with it. You've been trying to change it. So this is your opportunity to learn how to let go. And what you could be letting go of could have a lot to do with a previous lifetime, like intimacy and deep personal relationships that are actually really beneficial for you. Not ones that you can control, but real, true, authentic intimacy. So that's what I want you to do, is take it off the table. Stop trying, let go, stop thinking about it, stop talking about it, be done with it, regardless of the fact that you have not reached your outcome that you desire. Your soul wants you to learn to surrender, let go, and get out of the way. That's what your soul wants. So let's give your soul what it needs so you can individuate. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for listening today to this podcast. I am recording this on November 13th, just outside of the Seattle area in the Pacific Northwest. Joyful blessings, everyone. Bye-bye for now.